Ian, what's going on?
What's up?
I thought the show was so hard to judge. I had to put my do-rag on.
Fuck yeah. It's a serious business when the do-rag comes out. We know
That's,
that.
that's real business.
Yeah.
Dude, I have to say that it was one of the most exciting prejudges I've seen in a while.
Yeah. You could go any fucking which way in this. I mean, I look at it in one picture and I think one thing. I look another video or another picture, I think another thing.
I know.
I literally have no fucking idea, to be honest.
That's crazy to hear because you always have an idea. You literally have no idea.
When I initially watched it, look, this is what I'll say. When I initially watched it, especially from the front, because Andrew's like popped through his abs and like, chest and delts and stuff is so impressive. Your eyes are immediately drawn to him. So initially you want to be like, Andrew blows everybody out of the water, which, okay, sure. You can certainly make a case for him winning. Absolutely. I mean, it's probably still leaning that way, but the more pictures and more videos I see, that it's tough, man. I mean, his conditioning was not.
Okay. Wait 1 second. I just want to bring on our other expert.
Yo.
Milos.
Hey guys, how you doing? Hold on.
What's up, man?
There you go.
All right.
How you doing?
Good. You caught me off guard, man.
I'm sorry. I thought the show was so hard to judge. I thought we should get a really outside opinion that's not like one of our group that might have a different idea of what he saw.
Yeah, listen, I appreciate it because I listened to how you guys judge and you make sense. I mean, by all means, but let's discuss it publicly. So it would be interesting for our listeners, right?
Yeah. So me and Ian were just talking, and Ian said, because there's so many different videos and different photos out there, it's hard to really judge who we think is ahead. But we all watched Samson's live, right? We all watched Samson. So when I watched Samson's live, obviously we know the top four, but my top three were Andrew, Martin, Patrick, James. But then after seeing Bodybuilding Without Borders video, I'm like, wait a minute, James looks a lot better in that video than he looked on Samson's video. So now I'm like, is James second or even first?
Well, you see, that's I got like a first hand from Marlenka, first Samson's wife. I think she's a very good judge. So initially she goes like, oh yeah, James is soft. I say, hold on a second, what I'm seeing on the stage, it doesn't look soft, right? Then I heard from manager Matt, who is I just posted, I don't know if you've seen.
I'm going to go to it right now, actually, James. While you're talking, Milos, I'm going to show everybody.
On my Instagram, I did the manager Matt thing.
Yeah, this is the video you posted.
Yeah, but I really didn't analyze it.
So when I look at this from the front, this is what I see. James is probably the most muscular guy on stage. But when I look at their hardness, it almost looks in this video only like James has a really, really thin film where these guys don't. Do you guys see that, or is it just me?
Yeah, like I think, James doesn't have super prominent detailed abs, which is always going to hurt him a little bit on the front shots. Yeah. You can see it as the poses go. And I think that's one thing that really draws your eyes towards Andrew is those, look at his abs there. They're so blocky, so defined. And that's one of the things that really, really draws your eyes to Andrew is that pop and that detail, especially from the waist up, his chest, delts, arms, abs from the front is very impressive. Ian is a lose ground there.
Sorry to interrupt, Ian. I just want to ask you guys both. Milos, if you want to go first.
Okay.
Could it be that James doesn't look like he has the same amount of oil or glaze that the other three do?
James?
Yeah, James looks drier than the rest of them. Is that partially?
Yeah, but Patrick also looked drier. Pay attention. I mean, I actually told Abdullah on Instagram because he was texting me like, what do you think? I say, Patrick also didn't look like he had enough oil. Now that I'm watching here, it looks decent. But
like these three look like they're shining, and James looks a little bit dry to me, but I don't know. Go ahead, Milos.
But I tell you this, and I've noticed this lately. Back in the 90s, we put way more oil than you guys.
Yeah.
I'm serious.
Yeah.
And I noticed that. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, it emphasizes muscularity, especially when it's a good light. I mean, that's why we did it. And I'm always prone to put more than less. So if you're not sure, put more.
But just to touch on that for a second, Milos, I think because this is what I thought when I was competing. I always thought if I put too much on, it might look sloppy. Like it might actually hide the definition a little bit if it's too much.
Yeah, but maybe that's right. But it's how you do it. You have to really distribute it, like really push it into the skin, not just put there and leave it like you're going for a fucking moisturization. But we are putting it in and really like rub it in.
Yeah.
And we had also, back in the day, I was doing this, and I'm gonna tell my secret a little bit. This Dream Tan, but you use it super little under, right? And it has this gold shine. So when you put the oil on top of it, Jesus Christ, that was like something.
Yeah.
If you put the Dream Tan that is visible, you're gonna be penalized. It's not allowed. But this would be so for me. Now that you said, Patrick also had not enough oil, I think, and James definitely. I agree with Iain.
Yeah.
Iain. I don't say it correct.
Sorry to interrupt. I completely agree. Like with Andrew, I've noticed this especially in Texas too, and I think George does his oil. And George goes really heavy on the oil, especially with the darker skin guys like that. It brings out a lot of detail and a lot of pop. And I think it, like Milo says, it's adding a lot to his physique for sure.
Yeah.
So, on that note, look at the yesterday's or day before picture of Andrew Jack, lat spread, Arnold Classic Amateur, and Texas. And in Texas, he had way more oil, and actually looked like he had ab implants.
Yeah.
He was like popping in your oh my God. But that being said, I agree with Iain that James has a shallow midsection.
Yeah.
And because of that, sometimes he doesn't appear maybe from the front as lean and conditioned.
But
from the back, he looks good.
But hold on a second. So when we look at the back, even from the back, looks like he's much bigger than everybody else. Maybe not as much depth. James looks like he's bigger than everybody else.
We'll have to take everything with a grain of salt here because the camera is slightly.
I know. Okay, so just
obviously James is a big guy, but I think when you look at actual width too, I mean Andrew is very, very wide. Obviously Martin is a smaller between those two guys. I mean Martin is what 5'7", 5'8", maybe 235, 240.
Yeah.
Where these guys are upwards in the 270 plus range. So I mean he has 2 to 3 inches of height and 20 to 30 pounds between these guys, right?
But the point I was getting to. So aside from that, it's another question of oil though, because if look at Martin's glutes and hamstrings,
yes,
how shiny they are, and then if you go over to James, his glutes and hamstrings are almost just as hard.
Yeah,
but
I agree.
You can't really see it.
There's some more videos where James is more centered in stage, and I think the light is a little more favorable towards the center.
So let's take a look at this video. This is from Bodybuilding Without Borders.
Yeah, but here you watch this when he turns around, but this is right away. I mean, you look at Andrew's midsection, your eyes are drawn to that immediately. Where James is a little more flush, it's not quite as much,
Yeah, you can tell though he has worked on them though, because last year he didn't have this much definition through his abs, so he definitely did improve them.
Yeah. But look at how dry they are, Patrick and James, in this one.
Yeah.
So okay, I'm not sure, but I heard that you guys were discussing something that Martin could have beat Andrew in Texas. So on that note, I was saying for me there was really no contest. Andrew was standout because just the shape, structure, as Jan said, he is so wide, and it was just popping. Conditioning was better on a Martin, especially he was exploring on the hamstring and glutes. I mean, he was not even close. I think this show, he's doing even more so. I think that Andrew is not as conditioned even as Texas.
Well, I don't think any of us said that Martin should have beat Andrew. I just said he pushed them a little bit. Like we were surprised at how good Martin was, but we did all agree that Andrew won that show.
Yeah, no, and I think that argument is really only made from the back shots. I don't think any of us looked at it and said, Martin's beating Andrew in a front double bicep. I don't think any of us thought that. Just the detail and crispness from the back, which I mean, I agree with Milos here that Andrew's conditioning is maybe 2 to 5% worse, especially from the glutes and hamstrings in this show than it was in Texas. And I think a little less oil here than in Texas is also not making him look quite as good as he did in Texas as well.
So we're going to go into a back lat here.
See, but now James is centered here, and you can see the light is definitely now. Look at Martin. Martin looks dark here versus James looks light.
I'll let them get it. Let them get into their shot a little bit. I don't think they're all going to get in at the same time, but that's as close. That's as close as we're going to get. But if you look at this shot, to me,
I have James winning that shot.
James is winning this shot, and you can definitely see the difference in size between James and Martin, because Martin's even standing back a little bit on the line. You can tell.
Yeah.
So
okay.
Ahead,
so James is winning in the bodybuilding terms of thickness, muscularity, definition, everything popping, X frame. So on that note, of course, he doesn't beat Andrew in the shape department in that X frame, right?
Yeah, agreed.
So that's now how you go. Are you going to go with the shape, or are you going to go with the condition muscularity? I think that, talking to Abdullah, he is all into Patrick's condition. Patrick's condition was very good on the stage, what I've seen. Way better condition than Andrew. But I told him there's no way he's going to beat Andrew because shape is just overwhelming.
Yeah. I agree. I think that's what a lot of people say online. They'll say James, they'll have James based off strictly conditioning. And I think people need to understand that conditioning is not the entire premise we judge bodybuilding on. Shape and flow and symmetry and his structure and these things are still very, very superior to, 90% of people on the planet, or in pro bodybuilding, So I think he's very difficult to beat from that aspect. Yeah.
Okay, guys, I want to ask you something. So this is how I see this lineup right now. I see, and I just let me finish before you correct me. So to me, I think Martin is the most complete, but I don't think he can win because he's the smallest of the four guys. But he looks to me like when it comes to, like we were saying about bodybuilding criteria, when it comes to shape, conditioning, muscularity, he has the best of combination of all four of these guys. But he might not be carrying enough size to win. Do you guys agree with that, or is there somebody that's more complete?
Then he doesn't necessarily have the best combination, because size has to be included in that combination of everything that is pertaining to bodybuilding. You can say symmetry and muscularity, but he's still not the biggest guy, and this still is bodybuilding. But is it because? So Iain, let me ask you: is it because he's structurally not as big, or is it because he doesn't have the same amount of muscularity? I think he has, especially from the back, his muscularity is good. I think, from the front, he doesn't have a ton of pop. His arms are a little flatter. I think his quads don't have super deep detail in them.
Yeah.
So I think some things from the front aren't as favorable as his back shots are, obviously.
Yeah.
His side shots, I think, are very good, very strong. But he does lose ground, especially to someone like Andrew in the front shots. Andrew is very, very difficult to beat in like an abs and thigh or a front double. He's almost impossible to beat for any of these guys in those shots, right?
Milos, would you agree? Who do you think has the best back here? Because to me, Patrick looks like he's definitely losing in the back department, not the entire back, but just the back itself.
Yeah, Patrick is losing. It doesn't open up and it's not wide. It doesn't have that V-taper. So definitely he is not contender here. But let me tell you about Martin. Sure. Martin is super complete and structurally and pound for pound, right? When you see, how he is muscular and he's there. From the back, possibly could win him and James. Him and James would go, mano a mano. Yeah. But when he turns around, as Iain said, he has the good side shots, both side chest, side triceps. But from the front, he has the short torso and just like a small abdominal wall. He doesn't have all these six packs, long ones. Yeah. So he kind of look short side and doesn't have that super striated delts and chest. Kind of muscularity from the front is not there. And then when he lifts his arms, he doesn't have a peak biceps to match. Andrew Jack posed in front of me when he lifted his arms. It's like crazy.
I also did notice here, sorry to interrupt, Fouad. I also did notice here, I think if you can see it in some shots, Martin was posing his front double, flexing his abs here, not pulling up.
Well, before we move to the front shots, guys, I just want to ask you. Yeah. So when I look at Andrew here, Andrew has the most beautiful shape and is obviously the structurally biggest guy on stage, but he's not winning in the conditioning department against James or Martin.
No.
So
I don't think anyone's disputing that.
No, I know that. Yeah. I'm just trying to explain to the people watching. So if you're going to say who wins this shot, would you be picking Martin, Andrew, James? I believe it's out of those three for the back shots.
In this
shot, I will give it to James. James first, Martin second, Andrew third, and Patrick fourth in this shot.
Okay. I would agree completely. Yeah.
So let's move on to the side shots. And the front shots, because that's where you guys were disputing Martin, and you were saying Andrew pulls ahead in those shots.
Yeah.
So we'll go
I
to
think
the
James and Martin both have great side triceps here too.
I think
Andrew's pop is just very good, right?
I mean, he's going to turn it here. I don't want to go that far, but his side tricep, shoulder, and chest is just wild. And then he turns it because his quad has all this feathering in it.
I mean, and even there, you can see his abs popping out like crazy. I mean, you know, it's everything there. The detail is just ridiculous.
Then I see Patrick, and I feel like Patrick starts to catch up here because he has all this detail in his leg, and he's still got a tiny little waist, and he got some thickness here. James, I'm not sure. James has a great shoulder, great tricep, awesome legs, but I don't know if it's because he's leaning back, but I feel like his chest starts to lose a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, you can see the difference too, like Martin's chest versus James hitting the post somewhat similar. You can see there's more pop in Martin. There, and Martin's color is a little better than James as well. James is on the light side.
See if I can get I think they're all right in the pose there. Milos, who do you have winning this shot?
You know, even though Andrew is not in the pose here, I've seen him pose in front of me, and I know what his side triceps looks like. So we'll still go with the Andrew.
Yeah,
Martin second, James third, and Patrick. I mean, James and Patrick could contest on this one.
Yeah. I think that is Andrew's full pose though, because he turns it and then that's his finished shot.
Yeah.
I know. Everybody does it. Iain, you do this too. I mean, it should be a side triceps first.
Yeah.
And Iain, speaking of that, I mean, your side triceps is phenomenal side chest. Those are your best poses, right? You know, I don't know why you turn to the front. I mean, let the other guys do it. You stay on a side triceps is a killer pose.
Yeah, but I didn't think Iain turned to the front. Doesn't he? You do
the
leg.
I don't always have. I do the one-legged stance. Generally, kind of like Martin's doing there, but sometimes I will swap it and go to the front, but not super often.
Yeah. Okay. So let's.
But I agree. I have Andrew in that pose with Martin in secondary.
So then we go to the ab and thigh.
I mean, that is just a blowout for Andrew. In my opinion.
That's what I was going to say. It's pretty obvious, right? And then from there, I would go. Where would you go? I would go Martin.
I would have Patrick there in second to me.
Okay.
Yeah, very well. I would do too. For some reason, I don't see on the video separation in his quads as much.
Who's that?
But Patrick, I know that he has a huge.
Patrick.
I mean, I'm on my iPhone, and it's a super small video. So
no. I know. But whose legs are you talking about, Milos?
Patrick's.
Oh,
yeah. Patrick has the good legs, but in this shot, he didn't show them.
Yeah.
I mean, I said this to Iain before, and it was really constructive criticism because I was watching him. Iain, you didn't flex your legs in many shots in a couple of shows that I watch you. When you do it, it's over. But when you're not, if I'm a judge, half of the body is missing. Like here, I would put the Patrick second place before Martin, but he didn't flex his legs, so we'll give Martin second place over Patrick.
Let's see if I can get back to the front double here. So James' front double is crazy here to me. Tiny waist. I don't think he has a ton of lat pop here, but because his quads are so big.
Yeah, see, he's got crazy quads, but that is really what is holding this pose for him.
Yeah, you know? I know. Because then I look at this and I'm like, Jesus, like, that's outstanding.
The pop in his chest, the detail in his arms, you know, his lats, his abs. I mean, his quads, I don't love his quads, but they're still huge and they do have some good detail, you know?
Yeah. Milos, what do you think? Front double
lights out, Andrew Jack, lights out.
Yeah.
I mean, this is no comparison, right?
Okay, so
I mean, I like James front double biceps, but because he doesn't pop the lats, he doesn't have that Lee Haney Cobra lats, you know, extra V taper, right?
Yeah.
So he kind of look what Arnold was saying in a pumping iron. Don't make yourself small.
But
open up, right?
But I don't know if it's like that, Milos, with James, because James has a little bit more narrow clavicles. So I don't know if it's about him posing small or if he just is a more narrow guy.
But here it is. I'm going to tell you this. I've seen many guys doing a front double biceps thinking of a bicep, not thinking of, okay, let me pop the lats out. So you pop the lats out first, and the arms are going to be there anyway.
Yeah.
But, you know, many people squeeze in biceps rather than, you know, spread the lats. Because look at him in a lat spread. It goes all over, right? So if you can pull the lats in a lat spread, you just have to find a way to keep him in the front of a bicep.
So when we look at the front lat spread, Patrick's actually looking really, really good here.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I agree with Milos. You can see James's lats are big here, and there's almost no gaps there. I mean, you look, his arms are right touching his lats. I mean, it's a very closed in, nice, complete front lat there, you know?
So obviously we both, I think all three of us have Andrew winning this shot, but out of these three, and I don't think Martin's fully in the shot here, but
Martin also looks a little flatter from the front shots, I noticed the show. Like he just doesn't quite have as much pop. I mean, his quads look a little flatter and through the chest, arms, and delts. He just doesn't quite have the same pop I saw him have in Texas. It might be because these guys are bigger, poppier guys. Like Kuklo isn't exactly like a guy with a lot of pop to his physique. You know, he's a big structure, but he doesn't have a lot of depth to his physique. So when you stand next to these guys with a little more density, I think it's revealed a little more. But between these three, I definitely have James winning that shot with Patrick a very close second.
Milos, is there any way Martin can pull ahead of these guys when he's giving up that much size?
Yeah, I mean, listen, I have to give him all the respect, and I think maybe he might be offended by what I said when I said there was no contest against Andrew in Texas. He is the compact, square inch is filled, muscular. He is thick, so it's not like he's missing anything.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be surprised if Martin even placed as high as second. I wouldn't be surprised. I think that right now, the second, third, fourth place can go either way.
Agreed.
Yeah. I think we all kind of feel that way, but this is why I'm kind of trying to break it down to give people a little bit of something to kind of take home as to
there's more pictures here too. This is a scroll through. Oh, there's some shots here that I saw too that you can see.
What about Mark? That's a good story before we go on. I had Mark on. I was singing his praises. He's put on like 25 pounds. I feel like he missed his peak. But man, he fell way back.
Well, he looked like he's like fifth, sixth,
Yeah, but I mean, I had hopes for him to be second, like, because I thought he had enough size. I thought he had enough shape, but I just felt like he didn't bring the final package.
Yeah.
Do you guys see that at all, or is Mark not big enough to stand yet with these guys?
No, I mean, some of his shots, like it just, especially in his front double, like he opens up and he's very wide, but like it didn't have a lot of like crisp, hard detail to it. I saw. He still obviously needs more in the leg department. I think that's what's holding him back. And when you compare him, when you stand him next to guys like James and Martin from the back, I mean, that's a hard one to jump. I mean, those guys are very strong from the back. Their conditioning was excellent. So it's like, yeah, he was good, but then when you stand him next to these guys, that are in crazy condition with a lot of muscle like that, it's just tough.
I gotta say this is nutty. Like the amount of how thin the skin is right here.
Yeah.
The amount of graininess is absolutely insane.
Yeah, see, and this is the shot I saw that I looked at this and you could really see the conditioning difference between these guys and Andrew. But this is from the back, And we already said we knew Andrew was not winning conditioning wise from the back,
But you're saying that, I know this is not a great angle, Ian, but I feel like his legs look good. Like I don't feel like Mark's legs look small here.
No, they don't look small there at all. No.
Yeah, I don't know. I really had high hopes for Mark. I thought he was going to do well. So everybody misses their peak. It happens.
But not by much, but listen, that's just enough to slip you to fifth and sixth place.
Yeah. With this lineup.
Speaking of that, I want to touch on that one because I prepared Jamie, and you guys know Jamie very well. So basically, we wanted to bring him full. I only thought that his chance, standing on this stage, is to be overwhelming, wider than anybody. Standing next to Andrew Jack, maybe get that attention. So we went for that major fullness. And then I talked to Iain about the diuretics. We basically did 1/3 diazide yesterday and 1/4 today. That's all.
Well, I think Jamie looks amazing. It's just I just obviously filling out that lower body a little bit more, but his conditioning is phenomenal.
Oh yeah, I mean, he looks big. There's a lot of great pop. I mean, I think his glutes could be a touch tighter, but you said like he definitely, for a guy of that height and that frame, I mean, his pop and fullness was very good.
Yeah, I think so too. It's just like you have to decide which way you're gonna go for him. He has to be that big, overpowering, wide, X-framed. So conditioning wise, one of those things you made. And I told him I feel kind of guilty that I dehydrated you, but I wanted you to have these sides.
Yeah. But I mean, he's fighting with Mark for that 5th place. So
yeah, for
sure. Is this James here by himself?
Yeah.
I wanted to show this shot real quick. Here's Andrew by himself. Mark, let's take a look at Martin by himself from the front. I want to take a look at the front because we all know his back is good, but
okay, he pulled up the front double there.
Yeah. I see what you mean, Milos, about having like a short ab wall.
Yeah.
But when he pulls up though, he's got, it's nice and narrow. He pulls a vacuum. I think he does a good job of kind of hiding it there.
Everybody that does vacuum hides the abs. Yeah. Arnold was master of that because he had a wide waist and bad abs.
Yeah.
But okay. So look at his arms when he lifts them up. He doesn't have that peak, right?
No, they're flatter arms. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Go ahead, Milos. Sorry.
And here, the way he poses, you see, he keeps the biceps in a level of shoulder. And it should always be golden rule. You put the biceps above the shoulder to create illusion. Look at first shot he did it here. It's leveled, right?
Yeah, right.
It's horizontal.
Yeah.
You need to bring the higher
the elbows up. The elbows up. You're saying if you bring the elbows up, then the bicep will be higher than the shoulder.
This is what I noticed here on these front shots. Like you can see, to me, just looks like there's a little bit of flatness through the chest and arms and lats there. He just doesn't look like he quite has that same pop, even in his quads a little bit. The same pop that he has in Texas.
I feel like it's just not enough mass, maybe yet.
Well, I think he got a lot of commendation for his conditioning in Texas, especially from the back. And I think, to me, I don't know what his game plan was, that he really, really wanted to just push that conditioning as hard as possible and really shock people with the conditioning. Yeah. Clearly, you're not going to out muscle or out, flow or symmetry or anything like this, Andrew and these guys.
Yeah.
So I think he just wanted to bring gnarly condition. And I think he achieved that from the back, but I think then what that in turn did was lose a little bit of pop from the front,
Yeah. I could see that. So then I want to go up here. I want to take a look at Andrew real quick. I think we all have Andrew winning the show. Like this is a crazy shape from the front. Like,
yeah, I mean, it's just so much pop and detail. Even when he's in this kind of condition, it's just so detailed and so much pop, I mean, imagine if he was in the same kind of condition as James.
Oh, shit. Sorry. I don't think his condition is bad from the front.
No, not from the front. But I'm saying if his condition was the same as Andrew or James or Martin from the back, the front would come along with it a bit,
Well, that's actually an interesting point.
But then he might lose some pop. Who knows,
But that's actually an interesting point. And I know I'm jumping way ahead, but I think he's going to win the show. So if we jump way ahead to the Olympia, if somehow he can get his back harder and he doesn't have like one of those guys who just can't get harder. Let's say he can get his back hard enough where it's striated. Where does he place at the Olympia?
Oh, I don't like playing this.
I know. We're not playing like exactly where, but is he in the first call out?
If he's conditioned for the back, yeah. I mean, there's definitely potential for it. I mean, it's hard to say there isn't,
Because I don't know if his condition is, it's funny. The play button's in the way, but his glutes are in, but I still don't see a lot of detail in the hamstring.
Yeah.
So I'm like, is it conditioning or is it development?
It's both. So he doesn't have striations. Some guys have striated glutes even when they're fat, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. And then you have the guys that are bone dry and you can't see any single striation. Yeah. I hope he doesn't have a Flex Wheeler syndrome, right? Flex never had a striated glutes. Yeah. But here, tie-in insertion is there. So I assume he can be tighter. But listen, him and George, we're talking about 70% in Texas. They're going to bring 30%. So expectations were so high.
Yeah.
And I think he looked better in Texas. In Texas, he won hands down and catapult himself as a potential top 6 first call out for sure. And let's analyze it. You guys know, can he stand next to Hunter Labrada and Nick Walker? Hell yes.
Yeah, of course. But my question is, this one always kind of made me chuckle. Was he really 70% or is that just hype? Because I don't think that's 70%. I think he's like 5% from being perfect.
Well, wait, 70% of being super duper 4% peeled, sure, but can he ever get there is the question.
No, but I think what they were implying in Texas was he kind of just walked in. This is 70% of what he can be. And I'm like, that's a little ridiculous. He looks phenomenal. Like this is, to me, this is 90%. And if he could probably be 5 or 10% better.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So is that, do you guys kind of agree with that, or is that just
I agree.
like,
yeah. No, I agree.
Yes. I mean, listen, if he comes peeled like Ronnie Coleman, 1998 Olympia, right? Imagine that condition.
Yeah.
He's bigger than Ronnie was 98.
But I don't think that could happen, Milos, because I think this is more a question of development than fat loss. Right? Like Ronnie just had more,
maybe a bit in the hamstrings, but I mean, you can see his glutes are big, his quads are sweeping out the side there, his calves are developed, his back is developed. I mean, I think he could use a little more adductor and hamstring development, but I mean, I think if he got super duper peeled, I think you would see a lot more there anyway. So I don't know if it's necessarily lacking that much development, you know?
Well, no, I guess maybe development's the wrong word. What I'm trying to say is this: the muscularity is there, but maybe it's genetic. But if Ronnie was in this condition, you would still see all of that detail. You know what I mean? It would get deeper the leaner he was, but it wouldn't be like, because it's not, I'm just confused why it's like he's this lean, but I don't see any strips in his hamstrings. You know what I mean? It's just still.
I don't think his hamstrings and glutes are that lean. I think that's the thing. I think they can.
You think he's holding that much?
Well, I mean, go back to that picture where he was doing the back double next to James. You know, go back.
Oh, this one.
Yeah, and then go to the right.
Yeah.
See there,
but that's like his glutes are almost in.
Okay, but this is what Milos is saying. There's guys that are fat with glutes that are in, and that's what I see here is that the skin still has some thickness to it. I see the tie-ins there, but I don't see that there's like, look at the thinness of James or Patrick's skin in comparison to that.
Yeah,
you know?
Yeah, I agree with you. I can see that now. So Milos,
even in his lower back, you know.
Milos, do you agree with that? You think if he peeled off whatever amount of weight, like 5 pounds, whatever it would be, he would get that? He would be able to get that gnarly thin skin that Patrick has.
Yes, I'm telling you. I've seen him live. Yeah. I took him to pose in front of Steve Weinberger, and Steve, you know, his jaw dropped.
His
like,
dropped.
I'm serious. And, you know, Steve has seen 1,000 competitors and 1,000 competitions, and he was right away like, this is top Olympia competitor. I mean, chest, fibers all over, shoulders, biceps peaking, everything, right? Yeah. Quads majorly improved from last year. That's why I'm thinking he's improving, and he can fix the problem on the hamstring and glutes.
Yeah.
I mean,
a lot of it also could be a posing issue. I mean, I saw Terrence Ruffin in the I think it was Terrence or someone in there in the live stream saying like, it, you know, I think he's just not posing his hamstrings effectively, which could be, you know, maybe he's just standing on them and trying to flex his glutes, not pulling against the floor and trying to get his hamstrings.
That's a really good point.
I don't think that's the entire thing here. I think conditioning is an issue, but it could be adding to that, you know?
Yeah. So
you guys know this. You watch so many shows. How do you rate his condition here? Especially, okay, hamstring glutes condition. Cut everything else just to the hamstring glute condition.
On a scale of 1 to 10, I'd give his hamstring glute condition like a 6.5 to 7, maybe.
I would say 7. Like, I don't. This isn't. If this was anybody else, if this, let's say, like you said, we cut this out and we put it on somebody else, he wouldn't get a pass.
No, if I showed up like that, you guys would tell me I was fat.
Yeah, if Ian showed up like this, he'd be torn apart.
I would be fucking annihilated online.
The reason Andrew can get away with it is because he's so phenomenal in everywhere
else.
Yeah.
Sure.
So he has so many other attributes that we can give him a pass on the one that he's missing. That's why. But if it was anybody else and they didn't have all this amazing
this is the question.
Structure.
Sorry. The question here is, will that conditioning fly at the Olympia?
Well, it's going to be the same thing, Ian. He's going to get a push forward because of all his other amazing attributes. And when he stands next to the guys that have the same attributes, then he'll be docked for that missing piece, you know?
Yeah.
But I think in this lineup, the strong points that he have
are just totally dominant,
are overwhelming compared to the other guys. So that one thing he's missing is not enough to pull him back.
I agree.
He is a standout. He's a shocking. I mean, I talked to Jay Cutler, Dennis James. The second you put your eyes on him on the stage, he's there. You don't see anybody else, right? Yeah. That's the kind of impression he leaves with you. So on Olympia stage, from the front coming on, he's going to leave that impression. But then turning around, it's going to be okay. He's still not there. Yeah. Not that his back is not good there, but hamstring glutes. So for me, I would tell Flex and George, I mean, have him, do the hamstring glutes forever. Everything he does for legs, push from the heels, put everything on the glutes. Quads are there already. He improved quads tremendously. Right? But and then cardio, you do that kind of treadmill push, like put your foot into the ground and push back. I would say it. Listen, I don't know if you guys can do it. And I did the video, I put it on my Instagram. When I turn around and pop my hamstring, it's just a technique. You can do it, and you can see everything. Not too many people can do it. They turn around and they don't know how to squeeze the hamstring.
Yeah,
sure. So what you said about him being a standout, I kind of experienced that now because I didn't get to watch Texas live. Like I didn't watch a live stream.
I mean, even remember in Texas, like Ben was backstage. He texted us. He's like, dude, this guy in person staying backstage is a fucking cartoon.
But I'm just saying, like me personally, I didn't get to watch it. So this show, I did get to watch it. And I found myself, after seeing him come out, I found myself only watching the other three guys because I had already put Andrew aside as first.
Yes.
So I was kind of only watching Patrick, James, and Martin because I was like,
we're judging second.
Yeah, I was judging second, third, fourth because I was like, I think Andrew's got this. So we kind of went over everybody's strong and weak points. What do you, if you had to make a final prediction, Milos, out of these top four, how would it go for you? It doesn't matter what you think is going to happen. What do you think personally?
If I would be a judge, if I would be a judge, Martin second, Patrick third, and James fourth. Very close.
Can you
very
tell me,
close.
Before we go on, can you tell me just briefly why for each one?
Yeah, Martin is still compact, wider, better V-taper than James, better V-taper than Patrick. Patrick from the back opened up the lats.
Yeah,
it's narrow. For me, when you look at the shape, how do you define the shape? Aesthetics, V-taper. Small waist, wide shoulders, sweeping quads. Martin has that. Martin has very strong side poses as well. Like I said, he loses from the front, but James is not so good from the front either. I mean, shallow abs, and when he lifts the arms, he didn't have that, extreme V-taper that I was like, whoa. He has crazy legs, yes, crazy back double biceps. He could be, on the merits of better shape, I would give it to Martin. And Patrick is the best condition, I think, overall. When you look at front to back, it's best condition, enough muscle. It just, I don't know, it's not wide enough, and it doesn't, draws your eyes to him in all the poses.
I agree.
When you look at him, if I was telling Abdullah, you did a great job. Conditioning is ridiculous. Yeah. He cannot be better conditioned, drier, leaner, everything is there. Okay, but it's still, coming short to win this kind of contest.
So before I go on to Iain, I want to just play devil's advocate for a minute. What about the people that say James is more muscular than both Martin and Patrick, and doesn't that give him a nod, seeing as he's still good condition, he's not out of condition? So with the muscularity and the condition, even though he might not have the same shape, does that give him an argument for second?
He could, listen, James could very well be second. I'm just shape guy.
Your opinion,
If I'm a judge, I would always award shape, because once you start rewarding the shape, people are going to mold into the shape of physiques. If you're going to just award, who cares? It's bodybuilding or muscle building. It's, you want to have a pretty, it's a beauty or a beast. Basically, you're going to freak them out, or you're going to say, wow, I want to look like that.
So just to tie it up, in your opinion, when you're judging and your eyes looking at the stage, you're going shape first, then everything else. Okay.
Well, shape first, but condition shape. If it's condition shape, you can do it.
Yeah. Okay.
The shape first. I think that should be the message. If you ask me, bodybuilding would be a beautiful sport if shape is number one criterion.
Yeah. Okay. Iain, what do you think?
Yeah, no, and I agree there, because look, why are we, when Andrew walks out there and we all go, our eyes are drawn to him? Yes, there's pop, but it's also his shape that is drawing our eyes to that, It's that tall, broad shoulders, crazy X-frame, V-taper, and that's why we all want to look at him immediately. And I agree with Milos there. I'm pretty much on the same page. it's really a toss-up in third and fourth for me between James and Patrick. I mean, I probably would still stick with Martin in second overall because I do agree with Milos there. Just to be different, I'm going to go Andrew, Martin, James, Patrick.
Yeah. I think the reason we go shape with Andrew first is because he has the least amount of weak points. His conditioning is a little off, but he doesn't have any glaring weak points. Because if you look at Patrick, I see a glaring weak point in his back. If I look at James, I see a little bit of a weak point in the shape, maybe the clavicle width, the abdominals not being prominent. But when I look at Martin, the weak point I see is just overall structural size. And
his arms, his biceps.
Yeah. I mean, if we want to start nitpicking, but I mean, like an overview.
I'm comparing to Andrew.
Yeah. So then I look and I'm like, fuck, I don't know. I'm totally torn because I see James in second because even though his shape is not as prominent, he's carrying so much more mass and is still in good condition.
So then you can go.
Andrew, I know. But my initial reaction when I saw the photos was kind of the same. Was the same as you guys. As I had Andrew, Martin, and then Patrick and James. I could make an argument for either one and third.
Yeah.
So I guess we're going to leave it there. I think if I had to pick myself and my own preference, I think I would go Andrew, James, Martin, then Patrick. That would be my own as if I was judging, but I don't think that's how they're going to go.
Yeah. You see, I've seen you commentating Prague, and you were on point perfectly. And I'm going to tell you, because Iain won that Texas show, I was doing my YouTube video. I said, like, you know what? Let me put myself on a judging seat, and I'm going to judge each and every round. So first time, they did it 6 times, 3 times prejudging, 3 times finals. Steve, Phil, and Iain.
Yeah.
And the first time frontal biceps, I gave to Iain right away, right? Yeah. But then second time they did it, he didn't squeeze the legs and said, okay, pause. Right now I take a picture and I see the picture. Yeah. So just because I know that he has legs and striations and separation, should I, judge because I know that he has?
Yeah.
It's not what you have, it's what you show. Pose by pose.
I don't know if that. Do you think that's true though? Like, it's totally side argument. And
I agree with him 100%.
No. I'm not talking about Iain or anything. I'm just curious. When the judges are looking at a guy that they've seen for 10 years straight, and then he doesn't show something, but they know he's got it. Not conditioning, because that's different. Let's say he forgets to flex his hamstring or something like that.
Okay, but let's play
this. Most judges are going to let that slide.
I disagree, because I think let's put instead of quads, let's use your abs. And you're letting your stomach relax, you're not flexing your abs, and your stomach is messy and distended, well, then it's a completely different thing.
I agree in that situation, yes, but that's a little bit different because the distended stomach is a focal point of what the IFBB is trying to get away from. So
it's still a muscle that's relaxed and not under control, like my quads.
Listen, I'm not saying this is a technical thing. I'm saying technically you guys are right, but what I'm saying is on a human level, like Milos said, when he's judging, he sees a guy maybe not flexing his quads, maybe not flexing his hamstrings, but he knows they're there. They're probably on a human level going to let it go.
On the human level, yes, but as a judge, what you do, you should judge what you see.
Yeah,
but you remember when Big Ramy didn't open up the lats, rear lat spread, when they were all saying, oh, you didn't open up? And there was like whole prejudging, like 3 times. It didn't go out. He lost that pose.
Yeah. Well, I mean, like how many times? I mean, even someone was doing this in Tampa when we were there watching. Remember, wasn't opening their lat shot. And it's like, it doesn't matter if you know it's there. If you hit a back lat and you're like closed in, your one lat's not open, it doesn't matter if I know it's there. It's not shown.
Well, I guess you're right, because Nick was having trouble opening his front lat spread. I forget what show it was.
Yeah.
Even though everybody knew he had a massive back.
Doesn't matter.
So yeah, you're look, like I said, technically I know you guys are right, but I think in some cases they let things slide because they know somebody has it.
I would think so.
Yeah. Well, I mean, okay. I'll give you one more example. I mean, with me using myself here as an example, I mean, how many shows have I gone and done where I wasn't opening my back double properly? Where I was going there and I was squeezed in. And what was the number one critique I got from judges every single show I did is open your fucking back double. And I know that they were penalizing me for that. 100% they were. I mean, Tyler's told me, I mean, they've all told me, it's like, you got to open that back double, man. Like, it's like, I don't care if it's there. You got to show it, So I agree. Yeah.
I got you. Okay. Well, I think we've all put our predictions in. I should probably write them down. Milos, you had Martin second, James fourth. Sorry, Patrick third, James fourth.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I put James third, Patrick fourth.
Okay, and I put
James second, Martin, then Patrick.
That's not what I didn't say that's what the judges are going to do. I'm just saying that was my personal.
Well, that's what that's all we're doing. Yeah.
That's your personal. That's your Iain. That's your personal favorite lineup too.
Oh no! If I'm
well, that's what I'm saying. We're talking about if you were sitting in the judge's seat. So you missed that. You messed it up. You tried to predict what they're going to do, and I was asking you what you would do if you were judging.
Yeah. I said what I would. This is how I judge what I would do, not what I think judge is going to do.
Yeah,
it's tough with James, man. Like it's so tough with him. James is the hard one to put to place for me.
I'm telling you because he's bigger than everybody. Well, like more muscular. Sorry,
denser,
and his conditioning is good. And his conditioning is good. Yeah. So it's like, how do you not put a guy in second if he's got the best muscularity, good condition? If the only thing he's lacking is the same shape as everybody else, but he's got them beat on every other category.
Well, shape and be tapered because the guys, they are not wide. Be tapered, lose the front, relax, lose the front lat spread. Right.
I think Milos, because you're like the aesthetic king.
You have to agree with him because I mean, when you talk about it there, James is not beating Martin in the front double. He's not beating anybody in the abs and thighs, in my opinion, because of his abdominal thing. His front lat is good because he is very dense. So it's tough, man.
I don't dislike this front double. I think his lats could be opened up more, definitely.
I think his arms and his lats need a little more, yeah.
But I think his legs really make the shot.
Listen, this is how your shape should be judged. Shut the lights and see the silhouette. Look at this guy. Look at the Patrick and look at the V-taper X-frame on those. Yeah, and look at James.
It's because James has a very long, straight midsection.
Okay, but wait a second, Milos. If we took that, you should be saying Patrick's in second.
In this pose, he might be.
Yeah.
Yeah. In this pose for sure. Yeah. In this pose. He be. Okay, you want to go pose by pose? We already did it. Yeah.
The front lat spread. See, I think Martin's losing this shot badly.
I agree. I think he's not hitting it very well. He looks a little
like Martin looks, and no offense to Martin, I love his physique. I've been praising him for a while, but Martin does not look the same size as these guys.
No, he isn't.
Patrick second and James third.
So now you have two poses where you have Patrick in second.
Yes, I do.
Okay, let's see from the side. I'm going to change. Milos's.
I have James ahead in this side chest though.
Okay, side chest. Martin's got great legs in the side chest. Oh shit, it went too fast. I think Martin's got Patrick in the side chest.
Oh, fuck, I don't fucking know, man. It's tough.
No, 1 second.
Yeah.
And then we go to the back, definitely Martin's got Patrick here.
Yeah. In the back double and back lat, he's beating Martin.
So wait a second.
Martin's beating
Milos, you're talking about shape.
Yeah.
When we look at shape from the back, yes, Martin's wider than James, but this is still a good X-frame, man, from the back. And he's got a lot more muscle.
Here, yes. Here, yes, for sure. Because the thickness 3D pops at you.
Yeah.
Really, shut the lights and see the silhouette. The
silhouette is
Martin is way wider.
Well, wait a minute. If I shut the lights off, Martin's wider. Martin's wider, but I also see a smaller waist and much thicker legs, right? You see a big gap here? There's a lot more muscle in here. So I'm like, okay, now I'm looking at a silhouette, and the only part of the silhouette that's winning is that he's got wider shoulders.
And wider lat.
James did perfectly legs in this position. He doesn't have a gap.
Yeah.
Turn 45 degrees, so the sweeping ties, phenomenal. And he beats, let's just put it straight, he beats Martin in the leg department.
Yes.
Okay, he beats him. There's no question. Yeah. And he beats him in a back thickness department and detail. And on that note, in the biceps as well.
So all you got is
no. James won this pose over Martin.
It's hard for me too because when I look at this here with Martin, then I'm back to what I said from the front. I'm like wondering if this is a muscularity thing, which it very well may be, or is this? It looks like he's on the flatter side to me, which I saw from the front as well.
I don't feel like he looks flat here. I feel like
it just looks like he doesn't have as much pop, but then that's also because he's staying next to bigger guys, so it's tough for me to tell.
Yeah.
Fouad, if you repeat this like a few more times, I'll change my mind 4 more times.
That's right. The more we watch this, I change my mind every time I watch it.
Okay. And listen, that's what the judges do too. Guarantee.
Yeah.
I mean, guarantee.
Okay, so you're staying. Milos, you're staying with Martin in second.
I'm gonna stay with me being a judge. I would give it to Martin.
Yeah.
Overall, because shape is still better.
Yeah.
And enough muscle, impressive from side, impressive from the back. James dominates on the back of biceps. Actually, I think he won that shot overall. He beat Andrew in that shot. You know, so but shallow abs and not V-tapered, it's costing him, in my opinion.
Iain, have you changed yours at all? Or are you still Martin second, James third, Patrick fourth?
I'm gonna judge it. Okay, if it's me,
you're the judge.
Judges, I'm gonna go Andrew, James, Martin, Patrick.
That's what I said. Okay. All right, Milos, we're gonna see if the old timer gets it right or the young guys get it right.
I'm not gonna get it right. I hardly get it right. But you asked me how I would judge. Okay, now if you ask me what I think judges are gonna do, okay, I think they're gonna put James second, and probably Patrick third and Martin all the way down to fourth.
I think that's what the judges have. I agree with him there.
That's tough because I think Martin's so good from the back and Patrick is really lacking in the back.
Yeah, but they seem to be favoring the Patrick in a lot of these in call out.
His conditioning is very, very good too.
Yeah.
I could
Crazy
see that
condition.
Yeah.
Well, we'll find out soon. I mean, they must be on any second now. I mean,
well, Milos, do you want to enter one of our Real Bodybuilding Podcast bets before we go on? We'll get you to shave We'll get you to shave
so how does it work?
It works like this. You're going to pick your top 4, and if you get it wrong, whoever gets it the most wrong loses the bet.
Okay, so how much is the bet?
You have to shave your head.
No way. No way.
There's no chance you're going to do that.
Hell no.
All right. We'll leave it there. Listen, thank you guys very much. I'm going to get this up.
We'll see you guys.
So, okay, boys.
All right.
Yeah.
Anytime.
Bye-bye. Bye. Thanks for watching. Please subscribe, share with your friends, and like the video. And if you get a chance, check out the description for all the different links to all the different places you can find Hostile and myself. And lastly, check out hostile.com for our new line of supplements and all of our apparel and gear. Thanks again for watching.